Welcome to HH28, where we unravel the secrets of self-discovery and matchmaking. We are Hugh and Heather,
two master holistic guides dedicated to helping you navigate the worlds of numerology, astrology, and personality in pursuit of meaningful connections.
All right, so we're diving into all this numerology. Fascinating stuff.
It really is. We've got excerpts here from a book on the core essence of the number 2, and then we've got this detailed compatibility chart, kind of outlines how it interacts with other numbers, even those, powerful master numbers.
Okay, so how would you sum up what the number 2 kind of represents at its core?
I think the easiest way to think about the number 2 is like the opposite of the number 1.
Okay.
So if the number 1 is like that bold individualist just charging ahead,
right?
The number 2 is all about seeking balance through partnership, through understanding, through creating harmony. It's like the yin to the number 1's yang.
I like that. So if the number 1 is all about me, the number 2 is saying, hey, let's make this a we situation.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that interconnectedness, that we're stronger together. And you really see that playing out in a lot of the strengths of a number 2. They're often gifted with diplomacy, with empathy. They have a knack for cooperation.
They're like the ones who walk into a room and just like sense if something's off. Like they've got that sixth sense for keeping things harmonious.
Precisely. Think about that friend we all have, right? Mm-hmm. The one who can smooth over any conflict.
Oh, yeah.
Offer a listening ear without judgment and somehow bring people together just like effortlessly.
Right.
They might not be the loudest voice in the room, but their presence is calming, it's grounding, and they genuinely value creating that sense of unity.
It's funny because when you describe it that way, it makes me wonder, can these strengths ever become weaknesses? Like, is there a point where always prioritizing harmony could kind of backfire?
That's a really, really insightful question. And it gets to the heart of kind of the duality of the number 2.
Okay.
Because yes, while these qualities are incredible strengths, they can become potential pitfalls if they're not sort of, kept in check.
Okay, so spill the tea. Tell us about the potential downsides.
Well, imagine someone so focused on keeping the peace that they avoid necessary confrontations.
Ooh.
Or someone so sensitive to everyone else's needs that they constantly put themselves last.
Yeah.
These are the shadows of those like really amazing strengths.
So someone who's always trying to please everyone, even at the expense of their own needs, oof, I can see how that could lead to some sticky situations.
Exactly. And over time, this pattern can lead to indecisiveness, to putting up with things they shouldn't, even an overdependence on others for validation.
Right.
And that natural empathy, while a superpower, also makes them more vulnerable to feeling insecure or taking criticism like really to heart.
Okay, so self-awareness is key here.
Yes.
It's about understanding those tendencies and finding that balance so they don't end up feeling drained or taken advantage of. Right?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Self-care is just as important as caring for others. And that leads us to like the really juicy stuff, relationships.
Okay.
How does the number 2 navigate this complex dance of connection with others?
Right, because you've got this whole compatibility chart here.
We do.
And it seems like no stone is left unturned.
Yeah.
Love, friendships, work, family, even spirituality.
It's all covered.
It's all covered.
It really does cover it all. And I think what's so fascinating is that it goes beyond just like those simple compatibility scores.
Yeah.
It delves into the why behind those ratings.
Right.
So instead of just saying, oh, a 2 and a 5 are doomed in love, it's like, let's understand the energy of those pairings.
Right, which is way more helpful than just getting like a random percentage with no context, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the nuances of each number and how they interact.
Yeah.
So for example, the chart mentions that the number 2 and number 5 pairing can be challenging because the 2 craves stability while that 5 thrives on change.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it can't work.
Right. So rather than looking at it as like a recipe for disaster, it's more about understanding those core differences and figuring out if you can create a rhythm that works for both people.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that applies to all relationships, not just romantic ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Okay.
Let's dive into some specific pairings.
Okay.
Starting with love and romance. You won't be surprised to hear that 2 number 2s together are highly compatible. They just get each other.
Right.
They both prioritize harmony, emotional connection. So it's a very nurturing, supportive bond.
Yeah, it's like looking in a mirror and finally seeing someone who understands the language of your soul.
Exactly. They share those core values, that deep empathy.
Right.
But the chart also hints at a potential pitfall here.
Because because both partners might avoid confrontation.
Right.
Those unresolved issues could kind of simmer beneath the surface.
So even in a match made in numerological heaven,
Yeah.
communication is still key.
Absolutely. Harmony is beautiful, but not at the expense of honest communication.
Right, right.
Now, when it comes to other compatible pairings,
Okay.
you've got the number 6.
Okay.
They get a big thumbs up.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it about the 2 and the 6 that makes for such a harmonious match?
Well, both the 2 and the 6 are deeply emotional, they're nurturing, and they place a high value on family and creating kind of a stable, loving home.
Yeah, they seem to share very similar values, always a good sign in my book.
Absolutely. The way I see it is the 2 is drawn to the 6's sense of responsibility, their dedication,
Okay.
while the 6 appreciates the 2's empathy and compassion.
Right.
They bring out the best in each other, creating this feedback loop of mutual support.
So it's not just about shared values, but also like a deep appreciation for each other's strengths.
Yes.
Okay, we've got the 2 with another 2, the 2 with the 6.
Yeah.
Who else is swimming in the compatibility pool with the number 2?
You know, it might surprise you, but the number 4,
Okay.
known for being grounded and dependable,
Okay.
is considered highly compatible with the number 2 as well.
I can see that.
Yeah.
They both seem to value stability and security, but tell me more about the why.
Okay.
What is it about their energies that just like click?
So from what I've gathered, both the 4 and the 2 prioritize trust and mutual respect.
Okay.
The 4 finds comfort in the 2's emotional depth, their nurturing qualities,
Right.
while the 2 appreciates the 4's stability and practicality.
Right.
It's a pairing that's like built on solid ground.
Interesting. So they each bring something like unique to the table, but those core values are aligned?
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. What about some of the pairings that might require a bit more work? You mentioned the 2 and the 5 can be a bit of a roller coaster ride, right?
You could say that adventurous, freedom-seeking 5
Yeah.
can be a lot for the sensitive, stability-seeking 2 to handle.
So you've got one person craving that sense of adventure, always on the move,
Right.
and the other wanting to create like a cozy, stable home base.
Yes.
That sounds like a recipe for some serious friction.
It can be,
Yeah.
but remember, no relationship is doomed from the start.
Right.
With effort and understanding.
Sure.
This pairing can absolutely find its rhythm.
Okay, so what would that kind of compromise look like?
Well, it might involve the 2 learning to embrace spontaneity,
Yeah.
being more open to new experiences.
Okay.
And for the 5, it's about understanding the 2's need for reassurance and stability.
Right.
It's like a crash course in communication
Mhm.
and finding that sweet spot where both people feel seen and appreciated.
So it's about creating a dance floor big enough for both partners to shine. Okay, what about the number 3?
Okay.
They seem like they'd bring a lot of fun to the table.
Yeah.
But how do they fare with the 2?
That's a great point. You're right. Number 3s are known for their kind of vibrant energy.
Yeah.
And when it comes to compatibility, this pairing is actually considered quite positive.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about what makes the 2 and 3 tick.
Well, the 2's emotional depth and the 3's creativity can be a really fun, vibrant mix.
Yeah.
The 3 helps the 2 lighten up and embrace their playful side,
Okay.
while the 2 provides a sense of emotional grounding for the 3.
I could totally see that working.
Yeah.
They each bring something the other might be missing, but I'm guessing no pairing is without its potential challenges.
Of course not, yeah.
What do we need to watch out for with this one?
So the chart does mention that the 3's carefree nature,
Yeah.
while part of their charm, could clash with the 2's need for security.
So open communication about those needs, right?
Yes.
Making sure they're on the same page when it comes to things like, commitment.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between independence and intimacy. Now, when it comes to pairings, that might require a bit more finesse. The 2 and the 7 are an interesting match. The 7, known for being introspective and intellectual, might seem a bit distant to the emotionally driven 2.
That tracks. 7s are known for needing their space, right?
Yes.
While 2s are all about connection.
Exactly.
How do they navigate those different needs?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
The key is for the 2 to understand that the 7's need for solitude isn't personal. It's just how they recharge. And the 7 needs to make an effort to kind of come out of their shell and be emotionally present for the two.
So it's about respecting each other's differences and finding ways to bridge the gap?
Yes.
This is fascinating.
It is, yeah.
I feel like we could do a whole deep dive just on, like, relationship compatibility.
You know, right?
But we've still got those master numbers to explore.
Oh, yes. And trust me, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Ready to dive into the world of the 11, the 22, and the 33.
Let's do it. I'm all ears. For those of us who might need a little refresher, what makes master numbers so special in numerology?
So think of master numbers as like the amplified versions of the single-digit numbers.
Okay.
They carry more intensity, more potential, but also more responsibility.
Those are like the overachievers of the numerology world.
Exactly. They're here to shake things up.
Okay.
We've got the 11, often associated with intuition and a deep connection to the spiritual realm.
Okay.
Then there's the 22, the builder, the manifester.
Oh, wait.
They're all about taking those big ideas and making them a reality.
Right.
And finally, the 33, the master teacher, known for incredible compassion and a desire to kind of uplift humanity.
Wow, those are some powerful energies.
They are.
So how does the number 2, which is all about harmony and cooperation, interact with those powerhouse numbers?
That's what I find so fascinating.
Yeah.
The number 2 pairs incredibly well with all the master numbers.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That seems counterintuitive. I'd think those master numbers would, like, steamroll right over the peaceful 2.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But it's all about balance.
Oh, okay.
Those master numbers can benefit greatly from the 2's grounded, harmonious energy.
Right.
It's like the 2 provides a stable foundation for those big dreams and visions to take root.
Okay, my mind is blown. Let's break down each pairing.
Okay.
Starting with the 2 and the 11. What makes them so compatible?
So remember how we talked about the 11 being highly intuitive and spiritual?
Yeah.
Well, the 2, with their deep empathy and ability to create a safe space for emotional expression,
Right.
is like the perfect sounding board for the 11's insights.
It's like they speak the same language, even if they express it differently.
Exactly. The 11 brings the inspiration, the big picture thinking,
Right.
and the 2 helps ground those ideas.
Okay.
Now, like any pairing, there are always potential pitfalls. The chart notes that both the 2 and the 11 are sensitive souls.
Okay.
They can be prone to taking things personally, which could lead to misunderstandings.
So clear communication is even more important in this pairing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And because both numbers can be a bit dreamy and idealistic,
Right.
they might need to make a conscious effort to stay grounded in reality, especially when it comes to making like important decisions.
Good point. It's like they need to balance each other out, make sure they aren't getting too lost in their own little world.
I like that, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the 2 and the 22, that master builder energy.
Okay, so this pairing is fascinating. Think about it. The 22 is all about creating lasting structures, a business, a family, a legacy.
Right.
They're ambitious and driven, and they need someone who can kind of support those big dreams.
Ah, I see. So the 20 provides the emotional support, the stability,
Yes.
and the encouragement that the 22 needs to thrive.
Exactly. The 20 isn't intimidated by the 22's ambition.
Right.
In fact, they find it inspiring. And the 22, in turn, appreciates the 2's unwavering support and ability to create a loving, harmonious home base.
It's like a power couple,
Yeah,
but in a way that feels balanced and supportive rather than competitive.
exactly. And that brings us to our final pairing, the 2 and the 33.
Okay.
Remember, the 33 is the master teacher, the compassionate healer.
Yes, they're the ones with a heart of gold, right?
That's the one. This pairing is all about compassion, empathy, and a shared desire to kind of make the world a better place.
Oh,
They connect on a soul level.
yeah.
The 2 is drawn to the 33's big heart,
Right.
and the 33 appreciates the 2's ability to create a harmonious, loving space.
It sounds like a very heart-centered connection.
It is.
But even with all that heart-centered energy, are there any challenges for this pairing to watch out for?
The chart mentions that both the 2 and the 33 can be prone to self-sacrifice.
Okay.
They're natural givers
Right.
and can easily forget to prioritize their own needs.
So setting boundaries is crucial, making sure they're taking care of themselves just as much as they're taking care of others.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between giving and receiving.
Right.
And that's something that the 2 and the 33 can learn from each other.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered those intense master number pairing in the context of romantic compatibility. But I think it's important to remember that these dynamics can play out in all kinds of relationships.
Right.
Friendships, work, even family.
Right. Because it's not always about finding your soulmate.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's about understanding those other important connections in our lives.
Yes.
Are you ready to dive into those dynamics?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've explored the number 2 in love, but what about those other heart connections, the friends, the colleagues, even the family members who kind of color our world? How do these master number dynamics play out in those relationships?
It's fascinating, isn't it? The energy of these pairings kind of shifts depending on like the context of the relationship. Like imagine the 11 with all their intuitive insights and big ideas trying to navigate the world of friendships. They can sometimes feel misunderstood.
Yeah.
Like they're on a different wavelength.
Yeah, I know a few 11s, and they're absolutely brilliant,
Yes.
but they definitely have their own unique way of seeing the world.
Exactly. And that's where a 2 can be such a gift to an 11. They offer that non-judgmental listening ear, that safe space for the 11 to be themselves.
Okay.
Quirks and all. It's a friendship that thrives on validation and encouragement.
It's like the 2 is the calm harbor in the 11's sometimes turbulent sea of emotions.
I love that analogy. And it's a two-way street. The 11 isn't just there to be understood.
Right.
They challenge the 2 to think bigger, to tap into their own intuition,
Okay.
and maybe even embrace their spiritual side a little more.
It's a beautiful thing when friendships help us grow. What about a 2 and a 22 pairing in the friendship realm?
Now, that's a dynamic duo right there.
Right.
The 22, with their big visions and ambitious goals, can sometimes forget to slow down and smell the roses. They need someone to remind them that life's not just about the destination. It's about the journey, too. And that's where the 2 comes in.
They're the voice of reason.
Yes.
The friend who knows how to, gently guide that 22 energy back down to earth when needed.
Spot on. They provide that grounding, supportive presence that allows the 22 to kind of stay focused and balanced,
Right.
even when things get chaotic. Plus, they genuinely appreciate the 22's ambition and can offer practical support to help them achieve those big goals.
It's like having a personal cheerleader who also knows how to make a killer to-do list.
Yes.
That's a recipe for success. What about the 2 and 33 friendship dynamic? They both seem so kind-hearted. I
Yeah.
imagine that's a very sweet connection.
You're right. There's a lot of heart in this pairing.
Yeah.
Both the 2 and the 33 are incredibly compassionate, always thinking about others.
Yeah.
And you know what they say? Like attracts like.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise these 2 would find each other and build a strong bond based on shared values.
You might find them volunteering together, organizing charity events, just generally spreading kindness wherever they go.
Exactly. They inspire each other to make a difference in the world.
Ah.
Okay, so we've covered friendships.
Yes.
Let's step into the workplace.
Okay.
How do these master number pairings play out in a professional setting? Things can get pretty interesting.
Right. Imagine those big personalities trying to navigate deadlines and, office politics.
Right.
So tell me, what happens when you put a 2 and an 11 together on a project?
Well, picture this. The 11, with their intuitive understanding of people and their visionary ideas,
Right.
is probably drawn to fields like counseling, teaching, or maybe even creative leadership roles.
Makes sense. They've got that natural ability to connect with people on a deeper level. But
Yes.
how does the 2-2 fit into that dynamic at work?
The 2 is the one who can take those big picture 11 ideas and kind of translate them into actionable steps.
Okay.
They excel at diplomacy, creating a harmonious work environment,
Right.
and making sure everyone feels heard and valued.
It's like they provide the structure and support that allows the 11's creativity to flourish in a practical way.
Yes.
What about the 2 and the 22 in a work setting? They both seem pretty goal-oriented.
Now that's a power pairing. You've got the 22, the master builder, often drawn to leadership roles or entrepreneurial ventures. They're here to make a big impact.
And the 2, they're the ones making sure the trains run on time.
Yes.
Keeping everything from going off the rails.
Exactly. The 2 is happy to be the behind-the-scenes hero, managing the day-to-day operations, fostering teamwork, and ensuring the 22's vision becomes like a tangible reality.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Master number brings the big dreams. Number 2 helps bring those dreams down to earth.
Yes, I like it.
What about the 2 and the 33 in the workplace?
Get ready for some heart-centered collaboration.
Yeah.
This pairing thrives in environments where they can make a positive impact on the world.
Okay.
Think nonprofits, social work, education, anything that involves nurturing, healing, or uplifting others.
They must be amazing to work with, so passionate and driven by a shared purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered love, friendships, work, and, we can't wrap this deep dive without talking about family.
Right, because family's a whole other ball game.
Exactly.
So paint me a picture. What's it like having a 2 and an 11 as parents?
Well, think about it. The 11 parent, with their intuitive nature,
Yeah.
might just get their kids on a level other parents can't even imagine. They understand those unspoken emotions, those big dreams that haven't fully formed into words yet.
They're like the parent who always knows the right thing to say, even when their kid doesn't know how to say it themselves.
Exactly. And the parent brings that incredible stability and unconditional love to the table. They create that safe haven where kids feel comfortable being their authentic selves.
It's like having a direct line to emotional support, 24/7.
Yes.
Pretty awesome. Okay, how about the 2 and the 22 as a parental pair?
This is where things get really interesting. You've got the 22 parent, ambitious and driven,
Yeah.
probably the one encouraging their kids to shoot for the stars and pursue their passions with everything they've got.
Pushing their kids to be the best they can be,
Yes.
even if it means stepping outside their comfort zones.
Absolutely. And that's not a bad thing. But that's why the two parents' presence is so crucial in this dynamic.
Okay.
They're the ones who create that soft place to land, that loving and supportive home environment where kids can be vulnerable and kind of process all that big 22 energy.
It's a reminder that even with all the best intentions, kids need a balance of support and challenge to truly thrive.
Yes.
What about the 2 and the 33 as parents? I imagine that's a home filled with a lot of love.
You said it. This pairing creates a nurturing environment where empathy and compassion are the guiding principles.
Oh.
The 33 parent leads with their heart, always putting their children's needs first and making them feel deeply loved for who they are.
And the 2 parent complements that energy
By creating that space for open communication and emotional honesty. They're the ones who always have time for a heart-to-heart, who teach their kids the importance of kindness and understanding.
Wow, we've really gone deep on this one. So, as we start to wrap up this deep dive into the world of the number 2,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways?
Oh.
Especially when it comes to those master number relationships.
I think the biggest takeaway is this. Harmony isn't about one person dimming their light to let the other one shine brighter.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot where both people feel supported, valued, and empowered to be their best selves.
It's about recognizing that we all have different strengths. When those strengths come together in a spirit of understanding, incredible things can happen. So, to all our listeners out there, we'll leave you with this. Take a moment to consider the 2s in your life.
Yeah.
How do their strengths and challenges show up in your interactions? And how can you use this newfound understanding of numerology to deepen those connections and create more harmony in your own life?
What a beautiful thought to end on.
It has been such a pleasure diving deep into this with you. Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing all those, fascinating contradictions that make us who we are.